Hello, my name is Elissa, and today I wanted to speak about the few things that I started doing related to increasing overall energy. For a brief period in between, or may I say a few years, I was quite low in energy for varying reasons. So these are the steps that I learned with passage of time and trial and error that worked for me. So I wanted to share that with you. So the number one thing is to increase the energy flow of where you are. So for example, if you're at home, I've made sure that I've had energy flowing from the windows in and out, clear ventilation, making sure that I get fresh air. So stepping out of the house once or twice a day for a walk. Walking daily has improved my health, both mental, emotional, and third, even physical. And that is because when you walk, even for a short walk of 10 minutes, that blood flow is pumped back from your calves to your heart. And what I noticed was, for the longest time, there was a time where I lived a very sedentary life. I was in the corporate world and I had a desk job, which, with time, I didn't keep up with my health. I was heavy in my job. It led to burnout several times. And when I compare my health from now to then, this is what helped, is moving my body. There have been days where I've not gone for walks. I've not done any physical activity, and I can really tell the difference in how I feel when you don't move your body, you don't go to the gym or even do activities that are free, like walking or going to the nearest park or beach or whatever, right? When you don't get that circulation in and out, it affects you mentally. You start feeling really exhausted, really down, and you may notice that you're feeling so dull and negative about life. And a simple way to uplift yourself would be to just get moving. So the few areas that I would touch on would be making sure that you are having food that your body is happy with, refrain from or reduce your sugar intake. It's not good for your stomach good bacteria. With sugar, you are feeding the bad bacteria, and that, in my opinion, has a direct impact on your thoughts, in the way you feel. So you always want to make sure that you're feeding the good bacteria on a daily basis to make sure that your gut is prioritized. Your gut health affects everything in your body. So then the other thing that I started doing differently was I just lived life like the way I knew how. I didn't really think much about what I was doing. But this one simple thing that I paid attention to was, over the recent years, or maybe I would say over the last 10 years, I put on quite a lot of weight. And when I think back about what would help, I did move from a hot country to a cold country. I moved from India to Canada. And in India, I sweat a lot, and I didn't realize how good sweating was for you. So I make it a point that I sweat now. And what helps with that is I was very haphazard with the temperature of water that I would drink. So I didn't realize how much of a difference that would make. So I switched from drinking room temperature water or even cold water to now warm water. So I got as a gift from a family member a coffee warmer, and you get that on Amazon easily. And what I do is, instead of warming my coffee, which I don't drink that much coffee anymore, I make water hot instead. So drinking warm water, not only do I crave it, I love drinking that first thing in the morning, but I've noticed that it also warms me up internally. Like just the other day, we had a heat wave, and I didn't realize how much it heated me up from inside, because when I had that first, it wasn't that warm that day, the water that I drank, but even a little bit of spike temperature made me feel so hot. I was like, okay, today I need to have like normal water, room temperature or cold water, to cool down. So that made me really put things into perspective for me. And I knew that having warm water on normal cold days and normal days, it really does impact, and it warms me up from inside. So I want to do more of that. There are times when, the water is not warm enough for me in time. So I will have water straight from the filter section, and that's usually a little cooler than I would like. So that's another thing that I wanted to mention. And another thing that I started implementing my yogic practices, and I have a few videos on YouTube, but I think I started implementing 2 or 3, which I can quickly go through right now. So after I wake up, I make sure that I'm taking deep breaths in from my nose, making sure my diaphragm is fully expanded, and when I'm breathing out, I'm doing it from my mouth with the sound right? I do that, and then when I do that, I can already feel things moving in my body, circulation flowing. I'm feeling better already in the morning. And then what I struggle with is with water retention, and that is just a clear sign that either I'm not moving enough, or I've had salty foods, or the water is retained. So I need to move for the lymph system to be activated and do its job. So another thing that I started implementing was neck stretches. So moving my head up and down, with coordinating that with inhales and exhales. And before I do the neck exercise, I want to activate this area first, because these are the major lymph areas. On the left side is where all of the lymph pools in. So we want to make sure that we clear, or this part is well exercised. I know personally I struggle and I have tightness on my left side, especially this region. So I've taken it upon me to clear this problem, like all the other problems that I've cleared relating to my body. And so what I do is I put my hand up and it goes all the way up, and I coordinate that with inhales and exhales. So I inhale and I go up. And you'll notice while I do that, this region, it folds, right? Like it goes in and out. So that really helps move around fluid that has accumulated, or the lymph that is accumulated there. So I follow it with breathings, and I also incorporate humming after I breathe. And what I do with humming is that I go like this. Before I hum, I take a deep inhale from my nose. And while I exhale, I hum. But what I started incorporating with time was putting my hands one over the other on my heart region. And then when I hum, I imagine, thinking of my heart space area, my heart field and my human biofield. And when I am humming, I'm generating energy from my heart space into my hands, and thinking of my hands as healing hands and activating that for the day, right? So I go like this. So I do this at least 3 times, and then I follow it with the up and down movement at least 20 times. And then I do neck stretches up and down, inhale up, exhale down, and then I move it around to make sure I'm getting my neck mobility, because that has been a weak area of mine, which is deteriorated over the last few years, which now I'm attempting to get my health back on track. And I shouldn't say attempting, I am going to get my health back on track. So I'm getting you guys along on the journey. And yeah, so I'll leave it there. So those are a few simple things that I do that I wanted to quickly share. And yeah, thank you so much for spending time with me, and I will see you in the next video. Mwah.